Hello, folks. Arctic IT, along with their partner Ellis Retail, is here today to showcase the Ellis Central ERP software, one platform to run your hospitality business, including casino, hotel, retail, food and beverage, and event management. Our presenters today are Matt Borkowski and John Baker. Matt is Arctic IT's subject matter expert on ERP technology and is in the know on the latest finance and operational software available today. John, who is joining Matt today, is a senior sales director for Ellis Retail and will show you how this extraordinary application operates seamlessly in Dynamics 365. So with that, I would like to turn the presentation over to Matt.
All right, thank you, Joanne. Just turn on my camera here to say hello. I believe I've met a few of you in the past, back when we used to be able to meet face to face. So just thank you for joining us today. Excited to talk to you really about just some ways that really technology is helping us change the way we've looked at and used technology really in the retail and hospitality space. So thank you again for joining today, and I'm looking forward to that. So with this, let's jump right in. So when we talk about tribal hospitality technology, that could mean a number of things, but here's kind of the lay of the land for what our presentation will look like today. We're first just going to highlight briefly on some of the challenges that we frequently see and that a lot of our customers have been facing with some of that legacy technology, with some of that legacy software, and why there truly is a need to look forward. And what is that path forward? We'll be talking about, and then really talking specifically about what the overarching solution looks like, and the ability to unify kind of a lot of those operations, a lot of those different systems into one kind of end-to-end solution, and then give you a sneak peek of what some of that looks like, and then leave some time at the end for Q&A. With that, let's dive in. And why are we looking at new technology? What's out there? What are we seeing? What is just some of those pain points and limitations that we frequently see that are forcing people to really look at what's next and how to do it better? And a lot of that really starts with that first circle that we see there, and it's that idea of siloed teams and siloed systems. Where you have separate systems across the board, whether that's the accounting system, and then you have your retail point of sale. You got your inventory backend and procurement system, and then you've got your hotel system, your spa, all the different things that we see really in the tribal hospitality and casino space, where you're juggling 6, 7 or more different systems that all have their own security footprint. They all have their own data structure and databases, but that information is valuable and important across the organization, whether that's the accounting and finance team or executive leadership that needs to be able to see that data, make decisions on what's happening right now and not what's happening a few days ago once we've been able to reconcile everything. Especially when we're looking at managing inventory levels in a lean time right now, and being able to know where that is and what things are without juggling 4 different systems and knowing is it really correct, and then trying to manage that security footprint across there just leaves more and more holes in the process. And so with that, data ends up getting duplicated in lots of different places, entering into spreadsheets, importing into different things, putting into reports. All mainly manually or with a lot of manual processes happening to try to bridge those gaps, which then leads to insufficient tracking. Especially we hear over and over again in the inventory space. How do you sufficiently track your inventory when that's really needed across the organization, where parts of that inventory are in 5 or 6 different systems? Right. And then again, we've talked about the security issues of managing those security profiles across the board. How many different service accounts do you need to operate those things? Where is that data stored? How is it being integrated? Where are those spreadsheets being kept, and how are those being shared, especially at times where people need to be working from home and doing that from there? Really bringing expanding that security footprint into so many different areas that makes it difficult to know really where are our gaps and what are we struggling with. But this really isn't harping on what are the problems. We really want to focus on the exciting path forward. What is there? And a lot of that starts with with taking even a deeper look at that idea of a legacy system versus a cloud application. I know more and more those of you that are in the technology space in the gaming sector, whether that's whether those are your operational systems, whether you're constantly hearing about moving to the cloud. More and more of your technology providers are even requiring that. But why is that? A lot of these legacy systems truly typically are on premise, and there are good reasons for that at times. But really, when you start taking a look at the way that things have changed this year, that idea of business continuity means something different and even more impactful now than it ever has in the past. We've always thought of business continuity typically around that disaster recovery perspective. How is our data being backed up? Is it just being backed up to other systems on site? How are we getting that off site to handle some geo redundancy, or how are we protected if something happens, either catastrophically to our network or something to those effects? And that's typically what we've thought about business continuity. But now in that idea of, well, what if the majority of our administrative workforce now has to work from home? uh, how do we enable that in a secure manner, giving them access to the information and the data that they need? And more when we see what does business continuity really mean in 2020 and beyond, it's getting harder and harder to achieve that in a secure method with the access necessary while staying on primarily on-premises systems. So getting all of those benefits that we're used to with the cloud system, automatically having our data backups taken care of, but then now being able to truly empower a remote workforce in ways that we've never thought we would need to. The cloud is really shining in that regard. And so, what does that mean from a platform? Where can you start looking at migrating those applications, those desperate applications that you're trying to connect or are hard to connect, or maybe just aren't connected overall? How do you correct those or enhance those manual processes with technology? And that's really where the Microsoft Dynamics 365 Cloud comes in. We're a Gold Microsoft partner. I've spent the last 15 years of my career implementing Microsoft applications, in particular on the ERP side. But then looking at Dynamics 365 as a whole is much more than just the individual application. It truly is a unified cloud platform that allows you to bring those applications together with a shared data set. So whether you're talking about your player loyalty systems, your marketing activities, and then you're looking more on the operational side, where you start looking at your finance, your retail, your point of sales, your inventory. Having all of those on one platform with connected applications really starts bridging those gaps of those siloed systems, where you have one security footprint, all via Active Directory, that allows you to securely manage those things and then give access to the data that folks need to operate effectively, and secure the areas where they don't need. All on what's called that common data model, which is, a customer is a customer, regardless of or a client or a guest, is a customer regardless of the application that they're in, because that is a shared record amongst all the Dynamics 365 applications. And then being able to look at extending that beyond, where it's that same then security footprint and platform for Office 365. So now you can enable the ability to start interacting with your system regardless of where you are. Enabling the mobile access with full featured mobile apps to give you everything, all the access that you would really have and be able to do via web front end, the web front end, but being able to do that from a phone, with Android and iOS apps, or on other sorts of devices, whether the laptops, regardless of the form factor, so you can have the reports that you need. You can review and approve the transactions that you need. You can even enter in new transactions, right on the fly, and get those approved as necessary. Because now more than ever, the ability to work in a flexible location is so important. And then again, because that's on that same platform as the formerly known as Office 365, that's still what most people call it, but the Microsoft business applications on there, that ability to be inside your email and then get get an email from a vendor with an invoice, and without leaving Outlook, be able to check your vendor balance right from there, be able to check any outstanding items, and then be able to submit that attached invoice for approval without having to go into the system and type anything in, without juggling multiple applications, being able to access that all from inside your Office applications, because again, it's that one Microsoft Cloud platform, all secured with Azure Active Directory. And then being able to harness really the power of the Microsoft stack. Again, going beyond that idea of individual applications. The what is often called the Power Platform, the ability to use Power BI for all of your dashboarding. Really top of the line, world-class data analytics solution, all embedded and usable right with Dynamics 365. And then using Power Apps to create, without having to write any code, be able to create an app that allows you to do more, submit requests, do things all within a phone that fully integrates and is part of the Dynamics 365 infrastructure. And then being able to connect to other applications that aren't part of the Office 365, the Microsoft Cloud Platform with Power Automate, to create workflows that are not application specific, but that can connect data, connect users from multiple areas, embedded workflows that go all throughout the organization, and then result in a financial transaction inside the accounting system. And then existing ISVs and other things on the App Store. For those of you that have been in the Microsoft world for a long time, maybe use some legacy Microsoft applications right now. A lot of the tools that have been created by third parties in the past, are available as part of the platform as well. So you can get some of that extended functionality that you've liked and have used in the past as part of it. Now that we've talked about the platform as a whole and how the Microsoft Cloud Dynamics 365 platform starts bridging those silos and bringing applications together, the main focus for today is to really look at the Dynamics 365 Business Central platform. Business Central is the ERP, kind of the medium-sized business ERP platform, very, very functional. It has a lot of the functionality that originated as part of what used to be called Navision years ago, is now Dynamics, then Dynamics NAV, and has now been completely redesigned for the cloud with new features added, and completely modernized in a much better interface for Dynamics Business Central. But Business Central in and of itself does not have all the functionality you'd need on top of that, in particular for a retail and hospitality space. And that's where our partners with Ellis Retail come in. Ellis Retail has now developed what is called LS Central, and that truly is one solution for hospitality, hotel, food, beverage, retail, and event business, to be able to manage all of that still while within the Business Central platform. So that means you've got your accounting, your ERP solution, your inventory solution, your procurement solution, your retail, all of that are now within one unified platform. So you don't have those different siloed systems. All that could come together in one data source to be able to track all that in a very modern, easy to use web-based user interface. And so with that, to be able to go into depth with that I'm glad to have John Baker from Ellis Retail joining us today. And John's going to be walking us through some of the more specifics about Ellis Central and Ellis Retail's experience, and how that really is a state-of-the-art solution to help tribal hospitality, tribal casino space be able to modernize with a unified solution. So John, with that, thank you for joining us today, and I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you, Matt. I appreciate your attention and for having me join you today. As Matt said, LS Central is a unified commerce solution built into the Business Central application, and it's a comprehensive all-in-one end-to-end solution for every part of a resort. We'll walk you through those details today. So, one of the things about LS Central is we're a solution provider that has customers globally, but we work very closely with our partners and local support in companies like Arctic IT, who is a LS Retail certified partner and an award-winning Microsoft Business Central partner. And of course, specific to your group and interest is the fact that they're also focused on global hospitality end to end. So really, again, what you get is a world-class ERP platform with all the capabilities that you need to run your resorts in every department and line of business. And then the support from companies like Arctic IT that really understand your environment and can not only do all the infrastructure things with you, but all the business applications and the LS Central application as well. We currently actually have over 80,000 customers. We need to update our slide here, but we've got a really diverse set of customers globally, many of them in the hotel and hospitality space, and over 5,000 customers running these 80,000 stores and in 140 countries. And we get a lot of feedback and unique insights from these customers globally that then drive the evolution of the software. So why LS Central, and why does that is it special, and how is it different for companies like yours? So the main thing is when we come into this is a lot of people think of we have an integrated point of sale or integrated front office system, and really with LS Central built on Business Central, really what we're able to offer is not an integrated point of sale, but a unified, comprehensive end-to-end and an all-in-one retail, F&B, and hotel system all in one. And for those of you that may not appreciate, sometimes some of these things are tossed around a little bit loosely, but people think of omni-channel and unified commerce, and sometimes they're sort of spoken about in the same way. But really what we're offering is not an omni-channel, and really what, again, most hotel operators like yourselves are used to this omni-channel notion where you have multiple systems, multiple databases, and then the goal is to synchronize that data across these multiple systems so that you can have a common view of your customer. And if some of you are in an IT job role within your organizations, you know the challenge of making all that work and keeping it current across all those applications in the organization. With a unified commerce approach, which LS Central with Business Central can provide, is because you have a single application and a single set of records and a single database for all parts of the business, you have that single customer record, and you'll see that demonstrated today. The system is really comprehensive, again, for you as you go across your property where you have your retail gift shops, your hotel, restaurants, bars, where you have the activity management, which is reservations and bookings of spa appointments, weddings, events, booking rooms for business groups, these kinds of things, all the way out to things like staff management to be able to schedule your staff across all these different revenue points in your business, and all the way through to the hotel property management system. We're able to come in and provide that property-wide solution for the entire organization. And the whole thing is if you ever go into a hotel and the first thing they ask you is, have you ever stayed with us before? And you may have been a long-term customer. So really what we are able to do with the unified commerce approach is put your guests at the center of your business. So whether they're in a gift shop, in a restaurant, getting a spa treatment, taking a golf class, or renting a tennis court, or checking in at the front desk, regardless of where they're at in your property, because you have a single customer record across the entire property and accessible to everybody at every different job role and responsibility within the property, that you then have that common view of the customer, and you can have that single loyalty record and be able to accrue points and loyalty and integrate with your casino systems for loyalty, and then be able to leverage coupons, offers, and those recognitions to the customer property-wide. And then, so what we'll go through today is the hotel capabilities, which is doing all the room management. And then also, again, retail operations. So all the things that you do with retail sales. and then also the F&B. So whether it be full service dining, quick service dining, over-the-counter sales at a bar, cafe, whatever the case may be, we provide for all those capabilities as well in the system. And then lastly is the activities module, which is the module that enables you to, again, book like a spa treatments or a meeting room or an event or a golf tee time, or again, a tennis lesson or tennis court time, whatever the case may be, is all managed through the activities module. All right, and really what the benefit of all this is that total visibility or single source of the truth. So again, not only the customer recognition, but going all the way back to financials, that because you're not synchronizing data across multiple systems, when you look at information in the retail or your food and beverage operation or your rooms part of your business, whatever the case may be, you'll be able to drill back from financials all the way back to those originating transactions, and everything will align because everything was generated by the single system and a single record of truth. We also can provide for self-serve kiosks as well. So again, with COVID and all the things going on in the world today, touchless has become a really important part of things. And there's a lot of studies that talk about consumers' willingness to stay in line and leave out of lines when their service isn't coming to them quick enough. And so being able to provide kiosks and self-serve at the restaurant, that is a really important thing, and LS Central does provide for those options. Here's just an example where you might have a walk-up kiosk where, again, if you have a quick service food concept and somebody could come and put in their entire order, pay for the order, and that would transmit to the kitchen. Or the example on the left where you could actually do some line busting. So again, if you have a coffee bar or some other type of quick service food venue where you want to be able to walk the line and do line busting and take the customer's orders, or even have those simply as self-serve kiosks on a countertop where customers could put in their own order. So that would again pop up on the kitchen display systems. The order could already be prepared, and by the time they get to the line to pay, then those orders could be up. So again, all about customer experience and quickness of service. So with that, we'll get started. Matt, you're gonna make me the presenter from your side? Okay, there we go.
Yes, should have just come across.
Yes, it did. All right. All right, so what we're going to start with today, and we're going to take about the next 20 minutes or so, and just walk you through parts of the solution. Of course, if you like what you see and you want to drill in deeper to any one part of these topics, we'd be happy to arrange a time for you at a later date to get into really the details of things. But I'll give you a good solid overview, give you an understanding of what all is in the system, and we'll get started. So what you see on screen, for those of you who may not be familiar with Business Central, is what's called a role-based homepage. And the premise of a role-based homepage is that different job roles and responsibilities in the organization have different things that they need to keep an eye on. In this particular case, we have what is called a hotel back office view, where maybe a back office manager who is responsible for the transient guests and see what's going on in the business today and being able to put their fingers on that information. What we see here is, we have one new reservation, we've got a couple of arrivals, and I hope your business is better than this, but we do have just a couple of examples set up for you today. And then, be able to see what your room status is, what the housekeeping status is, and also being able to actually launch the point of sale and work from here. It includes housekeeping, rate management, everything you need to do to set up the hotel. And then if we go into our menus here, we can see all of our menus specific to a hotel back office management job role. And if we explore all the way to the main menu, you're going to see by adding LS Central for hotel to the base Business Central system, what you really do is truly turn it into an enterprise-wide solution for every job role, responsibility, and department in the organization. With Business Central, you start with things like finance, purchasing, warehouse management, all the things you would expect in the ERP application. And with the addition of the LS Central solution to the Business Central platform, then we get into things, all the things particular to LS Central, which is point of sale, back office, member management for loyalty, various in-store management, managing store inventories, being able to do replenishments. With Membership Manager, if you do have Players Club or these kinds of things, and there are different things specific to members or memberships. You could have like spa memberships, you could have like tennis court memberships, things like that could all be managed in the system. The retail store manager has all the features they need and want. The hotel front desk is able to have everything and do their job. When we get into restaurant management, we can see everything about managing the restaurants, the kitchen display systems, the table management systems, being able to manage prices and recipes for food cost management, and all of these kinds of things. So again, when you talk about tracking inventory in a restaurant, oftentimes it's not done because it's too difficult to do with disconnected systems. With the LS Central, you're able to manage all of those things to a very granular level. And again, whether you're purchasing retail goods or you're buying ingredients for recipes and then paying those vendors, that's going to start with a purchase order. You're going to do a PO receipt, an inventory receipt. That food cost is going to then, create a payable to the vendor. That food cost will automatically be updated. And then when you want to track inventory, again, whether it be in your food and beverage area or your retail area, you'll be able to do that. Again, the hotel manager. And then if you have events and activities manager, because you're working in the same system, when somebody makes a hotel reservation and then books a spa or a restaurant reservation, all of that information is in one system. So let me kind of start with I kind of started at a front desk experience and kind of give you some insights into some of these capabilities of the system. And we'll just kind of walk you through those things kind of end to end here. So one of the things we would do is have a point of sale user interface here. And again, as we go through the system today, whether you be at the front desk or at a point of sale retail or at a point of sale for food and beverage or restaurant management in terms of reservations and all these things, really what you're looking at is a single point of sale system across the entire property with different setups, configurations, and different features and functionality surfaced, particular to the job function or the role within the organization. What we see here is, the ability to see who's arriving today, who's departing today, who's in-house. We can look at room availability. If there's any no-shows, we'd be able to see those no-shows there. When we look at housekeeping, again, somebody in the housekeeping staff, you'd be able to see what the status is on particular rooms. And let's say a guest was coming by the front desk and they said, hey, I have an issue with my room. Could have somebody take a look at it, or it wasn't cleaned properly. Can you have somebody take a look at it? Somebody right from the front desk could take that room 103 and you could create as many reason codes as you need to properly manage your business, and then be able to provide that insight. This same point of sale would be on a handheld tablet or a small form factor device that the housekeeping staff could have. And then when they go up to that room, they can review it and mark it as clean and click OK. And then if somebody were to come back by the front desk and want to know if their room was cleaned or not, somebody from the front desk could notify them of that. Okay, so that's one integration point. If we have existing people in-house, and I'm going to just show you having an existing person in-house, I'm just going to double click on that record and bring up that customer record here. And from that customer record, whether they're checking in or already checked in, we'd be able to see all the different member information available for that guest. So again, all their member information, their club information, what scheme level, what point level they're at, also any member offers they may have had, and also if they had any previous visits. So when we talked about earlier, this idea like, have you ever stayed with us before? Right at the front desk, the person working with them would have all that information. And again, these member offers, if they did have any member offers, would be visible, whether they be at the front desk, the retail, or in the restaurant, because it's all one system. Okay. The other thing too is guests are, going through their stay with you, you would be able to see all their extra charges and their room and what their room rate is, etc. So you'd be able to see all that information from there. You also be able to manage their invoices, settle invoice and check out the guests and do all these things, create table reservations, ring up sales right from the point of sale here. But I'm going to just take one of our new arrivals, and Teresa Borley, and bring her into the sale. I'm also able to click on the record here and see an expanded view of that customer. And again, be able to see their visit history, their purchase history, and all this additional information about the guest right from that view there. But I can go ahead and check them in, and I could have them automatically checked into room 109. And they're all set, and maybe they're hungry or thirsty because they've had a long day, and you've got maybe a retail or a food and beverage right there near the front desk. You could actually ask them, oh, okay, we don't have that set up here, but we'd be able to ring up a sale and have them immediately attributed to that guest and check that guest out on that transaction, and then also be able to bill straight to their room right from that. We'd also be able to set up additional activities for the guest as well, all right from that one window. So that shows you that one part of things. As we kind of move away from the front desk point of sale, we could look at our spa view. And when we go into the spa point of sale, keeping in mind that this is the same point of sale. So because this is the same point of sale, we can go ahead and add a member. We can go ahead and bring that customer into the sale. And again, I've got Tom Thompson. So here's a new member that's coming into the spa. And that might be somebody in-house or a guest otherwise. And if I then can click right on Tom Thompson's record, and again, see all the different things. Again, whether it's a hotel stay or a retail purchase or a spa service or a restaurant, you'd be able to see all the different things that Tom Thompson's done with you, and also if they have any offers and coupons available. So again, maybe they get a coupon from another part of the business that drives them into the spa for a spa service. You can take advantage of these coupons across the entire property. If I look at up here and I wanted to book a massage or book another activity or make a reservation for golf tee time or whatever, you'd be able to do it from here, and you'd be able to do it even from the restaurant point of sale as well. But there isn't really anything here that you can't do at one point of service that you couldn't do elsewhere on the property. And again, that really enhances the guest experience. But we do have here where we can, just sell some additional spa cosmetics and you might have some skincare items and be able to just add those to the transaction. You can also filter by additional things over here, whether it's a cream or a spray, or it's more of an RX type item. And you can go back to here and back to there, and also be able to do some drinks. So again, because all the food and beverage is also in the system, if you do have a location that's, let's say, a spa and a smoothie bar, instead of having them do two separate transactions for the smoothie bar versus a spa service, you can actually ring up a smoothie with the customer and do that transaction. And then again, they could pay for their spa service all in one transaction. And then if they're a guest in room, you could book it to the room, but Tom just came in off property today, and so we'll just do that. But again, you could just sell it right to the room, and that will be instantly applied to their portfolio. And so if they're going to be checking out shortly thereafter. Okay. Another screen here we'll go into is showing you our restaurant setup. Again, same point of sale, but optimized for a restaurant environment. And we're just logging in here with a quick kind of demo login. And here we have a full service restaurant where this table management is part of the system. The kitchen display system is also part of the system, and it's also part of the retail point of sale. So where we have a layout here, and we have time sensitive capabilities. So if there's a time of service from the time a guest has been seated or an order's gone to the kitchen, whatever the case may be, you've got comprehensive features to be able to manage that. Or if you want to just simply sit a guest and seat the guest and be able to track how many people you're sitting in a particular restaurant and what your turnover is, how many guests you're getting per table. You see now that the guest is seated. So this, again, could be used by maybe a host that's hosting or managing the seating of guests. It could be a manager, and this could also be an employee. There's a handheld version of the point of sale, same features, functions, and capabilities, where an employee could see if there's an issue with the table service and be alerted, or that somebody's been seated, a guest at in their section, and then be able to just log into here and open up the table and start taking the order. Okay. And you'll notice too that locked that screen there, and then we can go into our beverages and let's say just do a coffee and tea order and go ahead and add that to the table and add a latte to the table. Has all the modifiers in the system again to prompt the server through selecting the modifiers appropriate to the item being sold. And in this particular case, there's a flavor option for that item. When we go back into our main menu and we want to go into our main courses here, we can ring up a T-bone and a chicken with brown sauce plate with modifiers. In our T-bone, we're doing a medium rare. And in our chicken with brown sauce plate, there might be options for replacing, let's say, the rice that comes with it, adding mashed potatoes to the plate instead. And really what you'll also be able to do is come back here and click on the item and also remove an ingredient, because maybe that came with rice, but they prefer mashed potatoes. So being able to take out the rice and add the mashed potatoes. A key element here is that this is not only just memos on a screen or to KDS, but also to the kitchen display system, and also being able to manage your physical inventory. So this will actually remove 100 grams of rice from that wild rice recipe, add a portion of mashed potatoes for tracking of that, and your food costs, because that's all part of the system too, will be accounted for. And I'm going to just add a couple more quick items, just some side or starter items. And I'll just add, go ahead and add our salad and stir fry. Okay, we'll just release that to the kitchen now. And we do have coursing available in the system, be able to, starters, main course, etc. We'll just release everything to the kitchen. And there you'll see all the different processes this is going to go through. So these items are just going to print to the bar. These are going to go to the fryer grill workstation. Again, we could spend a couple hours just talking about this, but I'll just kind of quickly move through this and show you how that goes all the way through to the kitchen display system. And that's hiding all the way back here behind all this other stuff. But here's our kitchen display system. It can be a virtual bump bar or a physical bump bar. And what you see on screen here are the different workstations. So again, going from a grill workstation to a fryer workstation to maybe a cold workstation, all the way through to the expediter. You'll also notice here where you've got your modifiers that are coming up here. And one of the other features of the KDS is the ability to select certain items that you want to be able to see a quantity that needs to be produced for a particular item. So we've got chicken and we've got steak. So one needs to be produced. Let's say you're on a fry workstation and over 20, 30 different orders, there were 8 servings of French fries over multiple orders. Instead of having to count through all the different line items, you'd be able to just go to that French fry and know that I've got 8 servings of that to go. And if I then go back to my my floor point of sale, here we go. And I was just going to exit out of there and I go back to my floor view here. What you'll be able to see is that that order did go to the kitchen, and that person would be able to click on this and look at the kitchen display tickets. So be able to see the kitchen status on the right from the floor, because that's all tied back to the kitchen. And they'd be able to see what the status is from the floor without having to go all the way back to kitchen. Again, this could be on a mobile handheld device. And then when we go back, we'll go back here and back to our kitchen, and we'll just kind of bump these orders through from each part of the kitchen all the way through to my status here. And you notice how it went from cold to fryer to grill and now ready to serve. And I just bump that order. And then if I go back to my main screen here and I close that up, what we'll then see when we look at our main screen here, you'll see now that it went from block to a finished order, and then that is ready to expedite and take out to the table. So that just kind of gives you some insight into internet connectivity, to have that single view of the guest, be able to manage their table, sit them down. Also, the last thing I'll share with you today is the ability to have a centralized reservation. So again, whether they're coming up to the front desk or calling in, you can really start this point of sale from potentially any workstation on property. And where I could have somebody come into the restaurant, and it's asking me to log in first. And again, having that central reservation capabilities from the guest. So when I want to select a restaurant and I want to select a guest here, and I want to look at somebody like Stefan Thompson, I can quickly find Stefan Thompson. And again, I've got all that loyalty information here like we've seen across the system. So even at the restaurant, even at reservations at the front desk, retail, restaurant, you have all of that visibility. and they could make a reservation for tomorrow for 2 guests. And then that would show me my hours available, and we want to do a 7 p.m. reservation. And then that would reserve that 7 p.m. reservation for the guest. You can also do things like allergies, all the additional table preferences, etc., that the guest may have, any additional comments, and be able to see the table attributes and selection preferences or section preferences for that guest. You could auto allocate tables or allocate tables, whatever the case may be as you go through. So again, coming full circle back to our front desk, as the guest goes through their journey, and I think I've got our Jane Johnson has done quite a bit more here. Whether they bought something at retail or at the spa or at one of the restaurants, all of that information, because it's all tied to that single system, is all coming back through to that guest. Again, I could see any activities, and there wasn't any activities for this guest for that trip, and be able to check them out from there. So that's kind of just the general overview of the system, all the different components to it, and all the different parts of it. And I'll turn it back over to Matt for questions.
All right. Well, thank you, John.
You're very welcome.
And so with that, we again thank you all for joining us today, and hope that the presentation thus far and just getting a glimpse of what a unified solution can look like for that. I'd like to open the floor up for questions for anyone that that may have at this point. So with that, those can be submitted through the chat. We'd be happy to answer those. Or Joanne, are microphones unmuted at this time?
Actually, we did have a question that came in.
Okay, terrific.
How does this interface into a gaming system like Aristocrat Oasis?
Good question. So when it comes to the gaming side itself, there's a couple of ways that interfaces. There can interface. Usually, in our experience, there tends to be a desired revenue audit process in between. Now, it's not necessary in that point that with either an export process out of those, or if we're allowed, oftentimes we are not allowed a direct data connection. But there are some great tools available to integrate to D365 with direct connections via the web APIs to other systems. So with some of the casino gaming systems, if we were able to integrate with that, we can definitely bring that over into an unposted batch of journal entries from an accounting perspective to create those revenue options. And then that revenue audit perspective could happen there before that batch is posted. A lot of times, our customers still have a revenue audit process in between. So then when that revenue audit is done, that data is then easily uploaded via the integration tools with Dynamics 365. The easiest way to do that, there's just a way to publish right from Excel directly into the system, but there are other more automated integration tools depending upon the process being used for that revenue audit. And typically that endpoint then becomes the journal entries for recording all the financial aspects of that.
Okay, the person who asked the question also said it would be required to allow players to pay for rooms, food with comps.
Yes, and John, I know we've talked about that before, but that loyalty points process, and we have that ability. We've worked with Dynamics 365 in the past to integrate the loyalty information, oftentimes into like a player host system to be what we call Player 365, that allows you to for hosts to see who's there, who's on the floor right now, be able to check in with their most higher profile guests and those folks that want to check in on those comps. So we have the ability to integrate and even consolidate some of that information across those systems. And then with that loyalty points, that can be integrated from those systems into D365 to be able to use those points as a tender type.
Right, and if I could just add to that, just
Please.
briefly, you saw throughout the system, whether they're in the restaurant, at the front desk, in the retail stores, when we looked at a member record and we would see coupons and loyalty points there, those coupons, if they're generated by, you know, the loyalty gaming system, and you generate those coupons, it's just a matter of then importing that coupon record into the member management record of LS Central Business Central, and consuming those. And as you consume points or consume coupons, being able to then trigger back the consumption of that coupon or those loyalty points back to the gaming system. So, you know, each one does require some additional development work in terms of synchronizing those, but all the feature functions and capabilities are just native to the solution, and doing so is something that's commonly done.
Okay, also, wait, can you add other third-party apps, social gaming, sportsbook, digital wallets? And if so, do you lose the benefit of having everything in D365?
You definitely wouldn't have the benefit. Excuse me, you wouldn't lose the benefit of it. I mean, there will still be, especially when you get into some of those very specific things, like some of the sports books and managing those things. This tend to fall more in line typically with those with the actual, you know, gaming operational systems. And so, but still, the ability to integrate information from those, whether it's just at the financial level, or whether we're talking about, you know, the loyalty and, you know, guest loyalty points there, those same integration capabilities exist. There aren't existing Dynamics 365 apps for the functionality that you mentioned, but really anything that involves guest interactions from a reservation standpoint, from a point of sale, you know, transaction processing standpoint, that can all be done within the LS Retail and Dynamics 365 components. When we get into the gaming aspects, especially where you need to start calculating, tracking, and then reporting on gaming winnings, and a lot of that stuff is kept in those separate operational systems.
Great. Any other questions out there? Okay, well, I think we're good then, Matt.
Okay. Well, you know, from John and Joanne and myself, we thank you all again for joining us today. We hope you have a very nice December and holiday timeframe here coming up. It's kind of crazy to think that we're already there, but we're grateful that you took some time out to join us today. When we close up, there will be a little bit of a dialogue that comes up if you want to complete that, and then we'd be happy to talk with you even further, schedule some one-on-one conversations so you can get a deep dive into the solution and questions to see how it might fit and benefit your resorts and hospitality organizations. So thank you all again. Have a great day, and we look forward to talking soon.
Thank you for joining us.